Our next question comes from Noel Connors, who says, "Hey Ramsey, what would you think if fighting was done by every single person in the world? Do you think our cultures would revolve around fighting so much that we evolve to just become superhuman at fighting, where world champions would have to become better at fighting than every single being on the entire earth? They would become indestructible machines with every fiber of their being. They will see our fighters as nothing, not even thought about. Every pattern and method in history will be so studied that their improved version will be too adjusted to even let any motion or movement happen, and every single cell in their eyes are sharpened to attack, and every instinct is violence, and every action is war." Oh man! All right, Noel. As cool as as you made that scenario sound, um, if every person on the planet dedicated every fiber of their being to fighting, we would all starve to death in a couple of weeks, because we wouldn't have any more farmers, we wouldn't have any more wastewater technicians to bring you clean drinking water that you enjoy on a daily basis, presumably. We wouldn't have architects, you wouldn't have a house to live in. We would devolve into a nomadic society where you would be forced to become a hunter-gatherer, and fighting recreationally, fighting for sport, ritual combat would probably become the lowest of your priorities. But let's speak hypothetically. Let's entertain this notion that somehow everybody on the planet is able to survive with all their needs taken care of, and they can focus exclusively on fighting, and somehow everybody is such a martial arts nerd that this is all they care about and all they want to do. Would people just become these next level fighting superhumans? Nah, I don't think so. I think there are obviously levels to the game. We have novices, we have intermediate fighters, we've got advanced fighters, we've got elite fighters, and you see these sort of classifications. We can divide up athletes into these tiers in every sport. But what separates an advanced athlete from an elite athlete? Like, what's the real difference? I mean, if you look at powerlifting, for example, look at the world records for powerlifting competition deadlifts, for example. What's the difference between the elite numbers and the advanced numbers? It's not huge. It's significant, because we're talking about, peak level human versus practically superhuman. We're talking about a matter of how many pounds? 50 pounds? 100 pounds? I don't know. Not like this mind-boggling extra unit of weight on the bar. We're talking about a little bit more. I had a friend who was a really, really strong dude, and I asked him one day, like, what would you have to do to get stronger? Like, this was one of the strongest humans I'd ever met in my life. What would you have to do to get stronger? And he was like, oh, man, that would take a lot of work. He basically outlined a full-time job. It would become a full-time job just to get a little bit stronger for this guy. And then he pointed to me and he's like, you know what? You haven't dedicated your life to lifting weights, right? You haven't even really, this was like way back when, before I even started lifting a little bit. And he said, you haven't even had the newbie gains yet. And you already have a pretty good base of strength. If you started lifting weights seriously, like, you would get so much stronger, so much faster than I can even imagine. In order for me to get a little bit stronger at this point, I would have to dedicate my entire life to it just to get a teensy tiny bit stronger. Just add a few pounds to my squat or deadlift or bench press. I would have to sacrifice everything for that. Just for that marginal improvement. So, my friend, if somehow everybody in the world was such a martial arts nerd that they sacrificed everything They would be sacrificing everything for marginal gains. How much of a difference would that make in the long run? Honestly, not that much. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.